Fan Dale here, and I have a pile of records. I have both. I have 12-inch and 7-inch records and some CDs. And I picked them up at the Kentucky Fair and Expo Center last week. I'd gone to I'd gone to the Dollar Tree before I went to the Expo Center. I went to the Expo Center to meet up with my ex-work wife, twice removed, Mandy Morielli, and her real-life husband, Vin Morielli. They were up there. They had a booth set up. They were selling books that they have written. Vin has written a lot of books about, short stories. He's written books that have material. He's a casting director, so he's written some monologues for people to do when they're going in for casting. He's done a number of different types of works. He's even got a children's book. I believe it's called Mabel the Maple. Mandy has started to write some books. She's written 2 children's books now. One is about autism, and the other that just came in is about type 1 diabetes. Both are causes that are near and dear to her because they affect family members. She did such a great job. And in fact, at probably one of the best moments of the weekend, this little girl came up and she was talking to her mom. They obviously had somebody in their family that had autism, and she was saying, "Hey, this is just like this person." And I thought, well, Mandy really nailed it. So, So I went up there to see them, but I also knew that there would be a lot of different types of vendors up there. Some doing more upscale professional products and that are licensed, and then other vendors would be up there basically like a flea market. So, wide-ranging types of vendors, but I found some that fit the criteria for thrift because they were $1 records. I paid a few bucks for a few more of them, but let's just jump into this pile, okay? So the first album, and this was a vendor that Mandy had pointed out to me. She said, I saw some $1 records, and he had some great $1 records. They were so clean. I should have gotten his name so that next time that I go up to the Expo Center, I can look for him. First album, out of the dollar pile, Cherish, David Cassidy. I know what you're thinking, but I am of that age where I was a child in the early 70s when I first started spinning records, and so the Partridge Family and David Cassidy were a big part of that. So I saw this for $1 and had to pick it up. Of course, it's on Bell Records. There's that famous Bell label. I always associate that with the Partridge Family. So it's Cherish, David Cassidy. The next one up, Christopher Cross. I guess he kind of fits in that yacht rock category. Still, probably the favorite song that he's ever done is on this record. And that is, Ride Like the Wind. I will be talking about the song Ride Like the Wind probably in an upcoming hard rock and heavy metal update. Why? Well, you'll just have to check back in with me and find out. And I forgot to show you the label on here. So, we got an inner sleeve. And Warner Brothers label. And that's Christopher Cross. Self-titled album. And I don't see a year. The next album is the Pointer Sisters, Contact. And I wasn't real sure which album of theirs I should need to pick up. But I used to watch them on Night Tracks back in the 80s and liked them a lot. And so I thought, for $1, it doesn't matter. I'll just grab this one and see if it's what I need for this group in my collection or not. We'll find out. RCA. That's the Pointer Sisters, Contact. Not much on disco, but I do have a soft spot for Donna Summer, so I've been trying to pick up some of her albums. This is Bad Girls. And it is a gatefold. And at this time, let's see what we've got the original inner sleeves with lyrics, especially on that one and on this one. And at that time, she was on Casablanca, the label I usually associate with Kiss. This next one was Blind Buy. What does that say? Tavares, Supercharged. I bought this mainly because, I'll take some risks at $1. And there was a group, Lakeside, I believe, that I discovered that's kind of in that, they got a custom centering if I can get it set right here. Kind of fit in that Kool and the Gang, Commodores type vocal group or vocal band type category. So I thought I'd try them out. Next up, Jim Reeves, Countryside of Jim Reeves. And I saw this in a Value Vinyl video, and a couple days before I saw it so I grabbed it. Figured I'd make Steve proud. It's on, what is that? Camden. RCA Camden. Jim Reeves. Then, I bet you didn't know it, but Dolly Parton actually had a sister, and her name was Stella Parton. And I guess that's big 80s hair for you. This is the best of Stella Parton. I have another album by her. It's on Elektra. So, this next album really got my attention. It's Charlie Pride. There's a little bit of Hank in me. And I knew immediately when I saw it I wanted this record because I like albums like this where artists pay tribute to another artist. And I like both Hank Williams and Charlie Pride. It's on RCA. Larry, Steve, Rudy, Gatlin Brothers. The album's called Partners. I like that picture a lot. I really dig the Gatlin Brothers music. This album is not got an original inner sleeve. It is on Columbia. Next up, Roy Clark, The Last Word in Jesus Is Us. This is actually still sealed. And it looks like a gold stamp promo of some sort. And so, gospel album from Roy Clark for $1. That's awesome. Now we're going to do a little jazz. We've got the Brecker Brothers, and that is a word that I don't know how to pronounce. Denente. That's as good as it gets. I'm assuming that might be Spanish. I could be wrong, because the only Spanish I know is Donde est el baño, which I learned watching MacGyver. So, but Randy, Michael Brecker, I'll grab anything I can find by them. And Michael, the late saxophone player, and Randy, of course, trumpet player. Great duo. And then we've got a little rock. How about some Head East? This album is called Get Yourself Up. They've obviously been doing some landscaping. Picked this up primarily because it's of this gentleman. This is John Schlitt, the lead singer. He would eventually be fired from this group due to his drug use. He'd get his life together and come back with the Christian rock band Petra as their lead singer. So, Head East. Next, gotta love some James Taylor, JT. It is a gatefold. And of course, this has songs like Handyman. Alright, so the next album is Linda Ronstadt, Homegrown. It's kind of odd because there probably should have been something on the back of this album. There's nothing on the back. It is on Capitol. And the album looks great. I believe I have a copy of this. I should have popped it out first and looked at that one to see how that one differed from this one, but I didn't. Forgot to. So, anyway, Homegrown. Wasn't going to leave that behind. Love Linda Ronstadt, and for only $1. The albums I'm about to show you, I picked up for more than the $1. This was a $3 record. It's, the best of Tanya Tucker. And it came out on MCA. I'm a big Tanya Tucker fan. So I picked that up. 15 cents is all I've got. Grandpa Jones. It says featured star of the Hee Haw Show. It's on Power Pack Records. He's a strumming. Well, I couldn't leave it there. I had to get me some more Grandpa Jones, right? So I paid $5 for this one because I've got Volume 1 and Volume 4 maybe. It's Hee Haw Gospel Quartet, 2nd edition. And it's on a Hee Haw label. But yeah, quartet that features Buck Owens, Roy Clark, Grandpa Jones, and Price, Kenny Price. I had to think of what his first name was there for a minute. So, very excited about picking that one up. Next up, and this one cost me $6, and it is Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs. This is Songs of the Famous Carter Family, and it's also featuring Mother Maybelle Carter and the Foggy Mountain Boys. How could I pass that up? Especially when it looks so good. on Columbia. So I picked up some 45s from the same gentleman. They were all $1. And boy, it took me right back to the 80s. The Power Station, Some Like It Hot. Really dug that song when it was on the radio. There you go, there's the label. Power Station. Very glad to pick that up. First time I heard Robert Palmer. Next up, Rick Springfield, Don't Talk to Strangers, with Tonight as the B-side. Of course, on RCA. Rick Springfield, Don't Walk Away, with SFO on the flip side. And this was also on RCA. And finally, the last 45 I picked up was Rick Springfield, Bruce. Love this song. It's a song making fun of the fact that people would often get him confused with Bruce Springsteen. It's on Mercury. B-side's Guinevere. And that was what I got from the first gentleman. So later, I was kind of milling around, and I turned a corner, and there was a box of records, and I kind of thumbed through the records, not thinking I was going to find much. The quality varied a little bit more than the previous gentleman, whose records all looked great. But I found two spectacular records that I could not pass up. And again, this is going to be the Tanya Tucker edition as far as this video is concerned, because Tanya Tucker, this album is called Here's Some Love. And it came out on MCA Records. And the album of hers that I had been wanting more than any other, finally got it. Tanya Tucker, TNT. With it is a gatefold. Probably one of her most rocking albums. But yeah, so this album also came out on MCA. So I was very pleased to find this album. And those were the two albums I found from that vendor. Then I found a vendor who had CDs. And so I found 4 CDs, paid about $3 a piece, and great stuff. So this first group, I have shown some of their CDs in one of my hard rock heavy metal updates recently, and it's Demon Hunter and Storming the Gates of Hell. I had passed up on this one because I couldn't remember if I had it, and then when I went back for it, I couldn't find it. And this gentleman had it, so I picked it up. It's Demon Hunter, Storming the Gates of Hell. I've been working on my Rush collection, and he had a couple that I didn't have. He had Rush, Exit Stage Left. You would think Snagglepuss would have been on the front cover of this CD, but he wasn't. The next CD I found was this one, Rush, Test for Echo. And finally, the wrestling album featuring various WWE superstars. I think, and continuing on another trend, there's a single on here called Eat Your Heart Out, Rick Springfield. That was done by Jimmy Hart, the Mouth of the South. So I could not pass that up, especially when there are other contributions from guys like Junkyard Dog, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Hillbilly Jim, and Nikolai Volkov. Come on, man. Would love to have that on vinyl, but I'll take it on CD. Anyway, that's what I picked up. I hope you enjoyed that stack of records, and I'm going to hope you're having a great weekend, and we will see you soon.